Think about that. How long do you stay angry? It took me an hour or two to calm down. Number two, how amped do you get would be another question about this audit, right? This audit as well. And then how frequently, how often are you triggered, right? So those are three things that you can do to assess how actually emotionally resilient, emotionally agile you are, right? How long does it take you to recover? Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you. EQ Gangsters. So if you're on YouTube, it looks like I've been beat up in a fight. I've got two styes because I have not been getting enough sleep. So get sleep, y'all, get sleep. It is critically important for our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. Okay, I am grateful for this episode. First of all, this episode is going to be about how emotionally resilient and agile are you? How emotionally resilient and agile are you? Like actually, not how emotionally resilient and agile you think you are, but you actually are. I think there's a big difference with a lot of us between what we think we are and what we actually are. I am grateful for the body sending signals like styes that we need to sleep more. I'm grateful for things in our life that force us to grow our humility, and thankful for the opportunities that God reveals to serve others. Oh my goodness, I've got another episode too I got to do about leadership. Oh my gosh. Recent, I'm grateful for leadership challenges. I'm grateful for conflict. I'm grateful for communications, conversations. I'm grateful for challenges. I'm grateful for adversity. I'm grateful for struggle. Change is mandatory. Suffering is optional. I'm grateful for perspective. I'm grateful for my inner circle, homies. I'm grateful for God's word. I'm grateful for new connections, new friendships, new relationships. I'm grateful for old friendships. I'm grateful for the sun and moon and clouds and rain and stars and space and planets. Okay, so this episode, how emotionally resilient and agile are you? So change, conflict, adversity creates an emotional stimulus, can create an emotional stimulus. How do you react to those emotional stimuli that happen in your life? You can tell the size of a man by the size of the things that makes him angry. I'm saying man, woman, you get it. You can tell the size of a person by the size of the things that make them angry. Do you go to an emotional 10? Do you make a mountain out of a mouse turd? Do you make a mountain out of a mouse turd? Do little things drive you nuts? Little teeny things, like take you to an emotional 10. You're in traffic. What type of emotional bump does being in heavy traffic cause you? I'll give you a very specific one for me. And this is a whole nother episode, but I'm just going to give you an example of where I was recently, like yesterday, emotionally spiked. I went to volunteer after work. I got done I left work at 6, and 45-minute drive to this church that I've been going to. It's a new church for me. It's not a new church. Anyway, and probably 20, 30, 40 volunteers show up. Now, they had already started working. Maybe I showed up at 7. I left work at 6. Yeah, I almost showed up at 7. Yeah, so 6:45 I got to the church. And so they had started at 6. And so I get there right from work, and there's a couple construction workers, and this, another part of the story is the church is supposed to open in 2 days. So brand new church, new facility, new building, all this stuff. And so there's construction stuff everywhere. And so it's supposed to open up in 2 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. So they have 2 more days to work on it. And I show up, and there's maybe, just get the concept, but there's maybe, of the 20, 30, 40 people, there are probably 25% of them, 30% of them, 40% that are doing any actual work. And the rest are kind of like looking around. Hey, I'm just kind of looking around, kind of milling around a little bit. And so I'm walking around to the different rooms to find who's in charge. I'm new to this church. I'm a new guy. I have no idea who's in charge. So I'm looking around. And as I'm passing people in the hallway, hey, is there anything I can help out with? I'm not really sure. Okay, no sweat. I'll keep looking. Hey, next person. Hey, you need any help with anything? Oh, no, not really sure what. Right. Go to the next person. Hey, you need any help with anything? Well, just kind of not really sure. But there's a big list in the hallway. Okay, I'll go check the big list. So I hit 3 or 4 people. There was one lady. Yes, you can help me move these boxes and these things over to this other room. Done. That took me 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes. Hey, ma'am, you need anything else? No, I don't have, that's all. Okay, cool, awesome. So find the list, read down the list. So the list is there of what needs to be done. I don't know where, install the bathroom, the stuff, the toilet paper holder and the soap dispenser or whatever, right? So, but there's no, I don't know where the tools to do that, where the screws, where the toilet paper dispenser, it's just this list of stuff. And nobody's around the list to ask, hey, do you know where this stuff is? But there's just people milling everywhere. So I go look into a couple of the bathrooms, and there's no toilet paper dispensers in the bathrooms with the tools ready for somebody to come do it. So, anyway, I'm still looking for people to, hey, you need help with anything? Well, maybe, I don't, So anyway, I'm telling this long story. There was nobody in charge. Church is supposed to open in 2 days. There's a month's worth of work that still has to be done. And it opens in 2 days, and there's nobody in charge. 30 to 40 volunteers, 20 to 30% are actually doing something. I'm not sure how they knew to do that something. I would ask some of them, hey, you need any help? No. In fact, I asked one guy, yeah, we need to move those mirrors over to this room over here. I'm like, okay, sweet. He's like, no, I got it. I'm like, I'm standing right here, my hands on the mirror. No, I got it. Right? It's like, dude, it was, so one of the things, long story, longer, wasting my time and wasting other people's time is absolutely a thing that spikes my emotions. It gives me an opportunity to work on my EQ. Now, and I had to legit process my emotions from that, like legit, because I was so spun up. I'm like, this church is supposed to open in 2 days. There's 30 to 40 people and nobody is in charge. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows what to do. And it's a massive church, 12,000 people in this church, not in this building, but there's 3 or 4 other campuses. And out of 12,000 people, there's not one leader that can show up to be in charge. And here's the thing is, what's worse is there are companies like this. Well, and you could argue that a church is a company, in a way it is, and there's no one in charge. Anyway, it was, so that's something that spiked my emotions. I was spun up. I was spun up for probably a good, no joke, maybe an hour. Maybe an hour. And this was the second time that I've volunteered with this church, and it was the same experience both times. Nobody was in charge either time. One guy tried to be in charge, and he gave as much guidance as he knew what was going on. But outside of that, he only did as best as he could. But still, ultimately, there was nobody ultimately in charge of this whole project. At least from a volunteer's perspective, nobody was in charge. So, okay, so here's another thing. So, and this is why I'm doing this episode. Not only for me, who's recently spiked his emotions, I have been around a few different people that have also had their emotions spike. And what's fascinating is, so here's another assessment or audit. How long does it take you to cool down? Are you triggered for, my pre-EQ days, I'd be triggered for a week or 2. I'm talking weeks before I would come down emotionally. Is it hours? Like me, I was pretty elevated, man. Again, just seeing a complete waste of man hours from 40 people. And I say complete, it wasn't a complete waste because there was stuff being done. How efficient, how effective, I have no idea. But, yeah, anyway, so it was just and so how long does it take you to come back down to earth, to calmness, to where you're emotionally calm again? And I had to go through my exercise, one of my EQ exercises, in order to calm down. And yeah, man, we can, again, I didn't mean for this to turn into this leadership episode, but there's another situation where there have been some recent changes within an organization. This is where I talked to the leaders in our company yesterday, and I said, listen, change is, if we're growing, and we are, change is mandatory. Suffering is optional. If you don't have mental, emotional agility, you'll suffer. This change will, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're changing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is how we've always done it. And yeah, we've always done it like this because we played high school or high school football, and we're trying to play college football, and then we're going to try to play NFL football. Play football in the NFL. So like, you can't still play high school approach and expect to compete in college or the NFL. You have to level up. So change is mandatory. Suffering is optional. How emotionally agile are you? There's another guy who it just seems like the smallest things just drive him nuts, and it like he gets like small things. right? And maybe some of you guys are like, no, but that's fine if there's a whole bunch of volunteers at a church, 40 volunteers at a church, and nobody knows what they're doing and nobody's in charge, and it opens in 2 days. It doesn't bother me at all, right? And that may be true, right? So which is a whole other thing, right, in terms of expectation management. And I realized I had certain expectations of a church this size and an expectation of leadership based on a church this size. Clearly, that's not the case. And ultimately, that's where the delta is, right? So the greater the delta between our expectations and reality, the greater the emotional response, which is exactly, I had this expectation walking in, oh, this is a monster church, 12,000 people in this 3 to 4 campuses. I know there's at least one leader who knows how to run a project. No, or let me say it this way. If there is, they weren't there the 2 times I was there. Let me say it that way. So I had a certain expectation, was not met, and so I got fired up. Now, it's obviously in an area that I'm passionate about, right? Leadership is an area that I'm passionate about. So now I would argue there are not many things that do get me excited like this. Most of the time, I am fairly emotionally stable, I would argue. I hope and pray, because I'm working on that. And so, maybe what I should have done is I should have had an expectation that, hey, there's no leaders and no one's going to be in charge, and then I would have not been disappointed at all. I'd be like, oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of people here, no one knows what's going on, and so I'm going to have, expectations that no one's in charge, right? So anyway, so think about that. How long do you stay angry? It took me an hour or 2 to calm down. Number 2, how amped do you get would be another question about this audit, right? This audit as well. And then how frequently, how often are you triggered, right? So those are 3 things that you can do to assess how actually emotionally resilient, emotionally agile you are, right? How long does it take you to recover from a stimulus? So those are a few different things to chew on about today's episode. And hope this helped. You guys rock. Your emotional health and fitness is worth the discomfort that it takes to work on and change yourself. You rock. I believe in you.